You watching Truth Be Told podcast where we tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Let's get into it. So we want to talk about uh, the culture and the state of the culture, and I'm talking about Black culture, our culture, and the state of our culture. The change from our parents' generation, our grandparents' generation, our parents' generation, our generation, and the current generation. I don't know what they are. We were Gen X, right? Yeah,
I
I
think
think we're
so.
X.
I'm an 80s baby, so I don't know the letters and all this.
Yeah, we grew up in the 80s.
Yeah, we
Well,
grew up in the 80s.
I'm 75. Yeah, he's
74.
74.
Okay.
So we were latchkey kids.
Right.
Yeah. But let me say this first and foremost. I love our culture.
Yes.
I love Black
Yes.
culture. If I died and I could come back,
Mm-hmm.
and the Lord say, Chris, what culture do you want to come back to?
Take
What
me back.
ethnicity group you want to be in? I love now don't misunderstand me. I love everybody. I love everything. Thank God for all other cultures and other races and ethnicities. And you ought to love your own culture and nature, ethnicity. But man, it's something about
Ain't nothing like it.
it's something
Ain't nothing
about
like it.
our culture.
Nothing
It's
like
something about the mindset, the creativity, and the strength of Black people.
Yes.
Because our culture was birthed out of pain and struggle,
Yes.
and our culture is only a couple hundred years old, because when we were brought over here, our identity was stolen, right?
Right.
We didn't know our God. We didn't know who we were.
Right.
Our ancestry, we knew nothing. So we came over here without a culture and was given nothing, handed nothing, and formed this beautiful culture that was birthed out of struggle and out of pain and out of
Right.
tears and out of blood. And it just goes to show how resilient and how talented we are. Now, I'm biased, but I believe that Black folk are the most creative, innovative people who ever walked this earth.
I believe that.
Man, I get amazed when I look at where we are now from where we came from.
Yeah.
Because think about this, just 150 years ago, just 150 years ago, it was illegal for you to read.
That's right.
Maybe 163 years. To know how to read was a death sentence.
Wow.
We as a people collectively, we just learned how to read in this country about 163 years ago.
Isn't that something?
And look at the advancement, man.
Mm-hmm.
And everything that was birthed out of the culture, the music,
Yes.
the food, I mean, just our swag in general is unmatched.
That's right.
Our swag stay on 10, and watch this, it's authentic.
Even our slang words.
It's
different.
authentic.
That's right. That's right.
And not only that, but our form of expression while worshiping
Right. Yeah. It's
is
different.
is different than anything you've ever seen before. We worship when we worship our God, we worship to a degree that other cultures mimic
Yes.
and try to copy how we worship, how we preach,
How we
how we
sing.
teach, how we.
Yeah.
I mean, I love our culture from here to there.
Yeah.
With that being said, though, there are some issues within our culture that I dislike.
Right.
I love our culture, but there's some things within our culture that I hate. And we'll get into that, and we'll see how things, in my opinion, in our culture, some things progressively got worse, and we'll talk about why. Well, I'll talk about why, in my opinion, why some things in our culture got worse, and then you guys can give your opinion and your insight on it. But go right ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I would I want to disagree with everything you said as far as culture is concerned. You can't help but
Nah.
Yeah.
you can't help
Yeah.
but love it. The survivability
Mm.
of black folk. It's just something like no other. Most of us, by nature, grew up in quote unquote impoverished homes. You know what I'm saying? Whether we was project kids or even if we wasn't necessarily project kids, we didn't necessarily have everything.
There was no silver spoon.
You know what
Right,
I'm saying?
right.
Like most of our parents, whether we was 2-parent household or even one, it was a check to check type of thing.
Yeah.
We had to borrow older brothers' shoes or older siblings' shoes and clothes. A lot of the young kids were known to have hand me downs. We would eat things to just put together things like one of my favorite meals growing up, man, when my grandma got that can of beans and chopped up them hot dogs.
Yeah.
Beans and weenies.
Beans and
That
weenies.
was like a
Poor man meal.
Yeah.
but I didn't know it as a poor man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You knew you eat good.
It was everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
obviously, like the imitation stuff. But when mom and daddy would actually get an actual pack of Oreos, you know what I'm saying? Like the actual, the real one.
The real.
Not them
Not
knockoffs.
not Oreo.
The one that come on the commercial.
Right.
The house that you saw on TV.
What? You
Yeah.
doing something?
I'm trying to tell you.
What?
You felt like
I was trying to tell you.
Like, oh, we got this thing going on.
We doing
And I
it.
saw this on TV. You know what I'm saying? So it was cold, for lack of a better term, but we didn't even know it because of how we survived, how we watched our parents not bleed on the kids.
Right.
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 But they didn't bleed they struggle on kids.
That's
They
right.
made kids feel like
We all right.
we
Well,
are
yeah,
we
we-
good.
and the level of love
Yeah.
that you receive,
Yeah.
it made you think that everything was okay,
Yeah.
or everything would be okay.
Yeah.
That's one thing I love about our culture. Our culture is really accepted.
Right.
Our culture is really accept. We accept a lot of we bring a lot of folk to the cookout that ought not be there.
That's right. That's right.
We're just so accepting. What one issue that I do have though is that we will accept other folk to our culture, right, and ingratiate other folks in our culture, love on other folks, but then it's not.
Right.
It's not. We
I-
easily let everybody.
Right.
We easily let everybody in.
And I think in our culture too, because of that, is in our culture, there's a level of forgiveness.
Which is good.
Right.
Which
in our
is
culture.
good.
I heard someone let's say one time that we're too forgiving. Well, I don't think
I
you
don't
could
think
be
you
too
can.
forgiving,
Right.
but because of and I think this is why we as a people are so blessed that we can, even when we was growing up in our culture, we understood making $1 out of 15 cents.
Right.
You know what I mean? That became a slogan. And I think because of how we come out the struggle, we are people that don't give up. We are people that I don't care if it's hurdles, mountains, fences, we're gonna get through it. I love that about us.
Do you know why I think that when you say some people say we're too forgiving? You know why I think why it's so easy for Black folk to forgive? Because we understand pain.
Right.
Yeah.
We understand
Right.
hardship. We
Right.
understand struggle. And
Right.
and when you really have really gone through struggles, when you've really been hurt, you don't wish that on anybody.
That's right.
That kind of pain.
That's right.
And that
And
kind of
that
struggle.
kind of struggle.
Right.
That
Right.
kind of struggle. I agree.
And the love for the culture, especially back when we were growing up, it wasn't fabricated.
Mm.
It wasn't made up.
Right.
It's extremely authentic,
Right.
genuine to the core, to the point that whoever you brought over, we could bring over
Was family.
one of the white kids. We could bring over one of the Spanish kids. We could bring over somebody that looked like us. But because they was our friend, mama and them loved them too.
Sure did.
If mama cook, whatever,
They gonna eat too. That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying? The door was open.
And seasoned food.
Season.
It's whoever you love more by default, they love more.
That's right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't no you ain't welcome here.
Right.
You know, even though all of them were going on jobs and being called gal and being called all kind of N words and being called all kind of bad names, the same people that were calling them the name were the same people that they were willing to invite and put a meal right in front of
That's
them
right.
Right.
without no hostility, without no type of hatred. Just look, man, I know you don't mean me well, but I love you anyway.
That's
When
right.
when you look at the culture from our parents and our grandparents, when you look at how they lived, I want to talk about the change.
Mhm.
Um, it was an era where there was segregation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so black people was forced to depend on black people.
That's right.
You was forced to patronize
Mhm.
one another's businesses, right? And
Yeah.
and their gifts, you paid for their giftings, whether it was their baking or
Mhm.
clothes making or the
Mhm.
little corner grocery store. You were forced to patronize black businesses and black people. I believe black folk had more of a business sense then because
Yes.
we had to own our own.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
And so with that being said, that was another level of pride
Yes.
um from our grandparents
Yeah.
and our parents because segregation forced you
To come
to
together.
come
That's
together,
right.
right?
That's right.
So we looked out for one another. There was this level of pride and that we had for ourselves, and that was a level of protecting one another. We protect our neighborhood. You protect the culture. You protect your
That's
brother.
right. That's right. You could go to your next door neighbor and say, "Listen, I need some sugar."
Right.
Yeah, I may need some milk, or vice versa. It was
It was a family. It
that's
was
right. It
within
was
the
a that's
community.
right.
It
That's
was a
right.
true community.
Right. Right.
I think now thank God for then this is me. Thank God for segregation. But I think that integration destroyed a lot of that
Mhm.
because where for a couple of reasons. One, um, in a lot of major cities that are predominantly black cities that were doing well, the government implemented um, rules and regulations. They call it eminent domain, where they took a lot of your land.
Right.
In North Carolina, in Durham, Hayti heritage, I know in the black community there was thriving. Black hospitals, black cab drivers, black bus
Lawyers,
lines.
dentists,
What
dentists,
happened was they built Highway 147 right
right
in the
through it.
heart
Mhm.
of that community, and there was a split.
Yeah.
So a lot of that was destroyed. And then what happened was when integration came about, now black folk who took pride in their own community wanted to be like other folks and live in their communities. And then you start seeing a lot of talent leave the community, a lot of giftings leave the community because they wanted the chance to
Yeah.
be around other people. And so you lost a lot of that.
Yeah.
Um, Fast forward into our generation, um, the culture started to shift, I think, midway through in our generation because remember there was a time in our parents' time and our grandparents' time where church was the center
Right.
of our culture.
Right.
Our worship in Christ was the center
Center.
of our culture. I mean, uh, a lot of us would say that it was because of our faith that got us through
Right.
slavery, that got us through uh, the black codes, that got us through Jim Crow, that got us through civil rights, right? And then you started to see this shift where uh, when you started commingling with other cultures, you start taking on
Yeah.
their culture and leaving
Losing your
parts of your
identity, parts of
own
your culture.
culture
Yeah.
and things that we've seen happen in other cultures, we start to see them happen in our culture. Case in point, you remember growing up, we would watch other kids cuss their parents out.
Man.
Tell their parents what they would do, what they and we used to sit
I
there
couldn't
like,
believe Billy said that. Because you knew
that was happening at Mount Brook Street.
you couldn't say lie.
You couldn't say that. You couldn't say damn. Damn was a tough word.
Yeah, right. Lie? What you mean you said lie? You gonna get slapped down.
Third grade. I was living in North Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Going to, it was second or third grade, going to Pinewood Elementary School in North Lauderdale. I used to walk home from school. Me and my dad, me and my brother's father, he worked at Joe Roddy Stadium, Donovan Stadium. That's what it was called, Joe Roddy at the time. And it was a little young white kid I used to walk home with. Me and him were in the same class. And one day, he lived in this neighborhood community called the Hamptons in Broward County down there. And he invited me up one day. He had a Nintendo. He had, I don't even think we had an Atari.
ColecoVision.
ColecoVision. But you remember that? Boy, you going back to the 80s then, boy.
He had a Nintendo. And he invited me up to play something. And, off rip, I'm like, look, Pop's expecting me to get home a certain time. I give you about 5 minutes, Pop. Anyway, we get up, and he had a stepmom there. I'll never forget. It was like, you only see stuff like this on TV.
Right.
She just, passionately asked him, "Do you want a sandwich?" I wish I could remember his name, Joshua. Just say, "You want me to make you a sandwich?" No, can't you see I got a blinking friend? Leave me alone.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm like, I'm in
my wide open.
You about to back up. You thinking, because you know in your house.
I'm like, is this serious?
No, seriously.
Now, what just happened? So he see me looking in amazement, and he say, "Oh, no, she's nobody. I can talk to her any kind of way. Watch this." And he goes further to call her out her name and everything.
Wow.
And I remember, now mind you, I'm a young kid. I'm second or third grade, one of them.
Wow.
But I remember walking home. We had wisdom already.
Right.
We were young
because that was a point of reference.
You already knew.
I remember walking home and making a wise decision in my own head. I said, "Boy, you better not
ever
pick your mouth up."
Man.
So it was amazing to see that
yeah.
Because it wasn't happening.
No.
We couldn't even, if adults was in a room, you had to leave that room.
That's right. They didn't even have to tell you to leave the room.
You knew.
You do it.
Grown folks are talking. It was a sign of disrespect. It was a sign of disrespect. When you walked in the room, you spoke.
That's right.
Now you see, I mean, this was our culture, right?
Right.
And other cultures maybe. I don't know a whole lot about a lot of other folk culture.
Right.
But when you walked in the room, you spoke to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're here, boy. You huh?
Yeah.
It was a sign of disrespect. Even the respect for the elderly that we have.
That's
there was
right.
a level of respect. There's just certain things you wouldn't say in front of, even if you was an adult and they were your elders. There was a level of respect in our culture and our community for the elders when in our parents' generation, our grandparents' generation, and in our generation. And then you see this drop off.
Yeah.
You see this drop off in morality. You see this drop off in the level of respect for one another.
Yeah.
And I believe it's part to do with integration, because you got influence by outside things that you wouldn't used to seeing.
You're right.
Now, there was a lot of great things from the integration. Thank God for integration. It should have always
But you're
been
saying
that way.
how
it
the
affected the culture,
so to speak, invaded, so to speak, with other things that we know growing up you couldn't get away with. Even with going to the grocery store. In our culture, don't ask for nothing.
Thank you.
Don't touch nothing. Don't, because you ain't getting nothing.
That's right.
And in our culture, one look. See, that was even in church, in our culture, if you back there playing, one look. You didn't have to say, they didn't have to go back there, not just the look.
Because there was a level of respect.
That's right. And when we were growing up, we would be in the store messing around, me and Chris playing tag or whatever. And my dad would just say, "At ease, son." We knew what that meant. Get right. Because if you don't get right,
line up, I'm gonna get you right.
Right now between the pickle and mayonnaise. And don't care who looking.
That's right.
That was that level, and you knew it.
I think also partly what happened was with the level of morality, because Christ was such a centerpiece of our culture. I think that when we stopped worshiping, when we got to the point, I don't need church anymore.
Yes.
I don't need to worship like that anymore. We got so educated now that I don't need Christ. There was no that Jesus who was this fella. You start to see we kind of fall off morally. We used to have there was a stronger moral code in our culture that is loose now. I think partly it had to do with integration because you got integrated with other cultures that allowed things to happen that we wouldn't allow to happen. And then there was this fall off from our worshiping that we stopped worshiping. Remember, because you had to go to church.
Yeah.
You was at church. Even if mama them didn't go to church, they sent you. Right?
That's right.
So part of our culture was worshiping. I remember on Sundays in our house, Andre Crouch was being played.
Yeah. Surely
You know, Reverend James Moore
Yeah.
was being played. It was that it was the centerpiece of the family. For a lot of Black families.
Yeah.
And part of that was getting dressed, putting on your Sunday's best, because you had to, that was so much pride in your culture that you couldn't go outside looking raggedy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You didn't see, when we were growing up, you didn't even see girls in the mall with bonnets and all this stuff.
No, that was a pride in
That's
how
right.
you look.
And I think what had happened there too is each generation didn't really transfer the foundation in the home. And the reason I say that is when we start saying you don't have to go to church and this Christ thing, because Christ now is not really promoted like that in the home, there's a crack in the foundation. So now I don't need to go to church. Worship is not that important. When we were growing up, we played church in the home. We had church in the home. And I would be playing the drums, and my grandma would be clapping, tambourine, and Chris was the preacher. And we would have church in the home. But now this new generation, like you said, I think, because each generation, if you notice, after our generation, that another generation came. It looked like it got weaker and weaker because now you got the generation. The parents are saying you don't need to go to church.
Well, see, we had a big mama. We called our big
That's
mama
right.
was Nanny.
Right.
We called her Nanny, right? And we was having church in the house as kids because Big Mama was promoting it. So you had that foundation. You saw them praying.
Right.
So you prayed. you heard them praying. Walking the floor praying. You was taught how to pray.
Right.
And I think that when we fell off from that, I think we lost some of our morals, because a lot of things that we do, that we have more love for each other.
Yes.
Soul brother,
Yeah.
It was
Soul brother. Yeah.
my brother. I don't know you, but you me,
That's
and I'm
right.
you. And it wasn't so quick to nigga. I pull this thing out on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was a level of pride and
Right.
respect we
Right.
had
Right.
for one another, and it seems like it's gotten worse, even in our music.
My
Yeah.
perspective is different than you all. So you all, that's how you all grew up.
Right.
Church was found
Foundational.
right there. You all had, like you said, y'all was having church. Not even on Sunday, just on the regular,
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday morning, maybe. This is what was going. My environment was completely different. In my household, neither my mother or my father uh, were active in church. But this, I'm saying this to show how, as a culture, how solid in Christ we were.
Right.
Because we didn't even go to church like that. I don't remember even walking inside of a church until I was maybe 14 years old. And this was without my mom or my dad,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But growing up, still walking the streets with the friends, and let me go back real quick. I don't remember nobody ever coming to the house to minister. I don't remember us ever praying. We ain't never prayed. We ain't never did none of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I still had enough common sense to know God is who we serve as a culture.
Right.
You
Right.
see what I'm saying?
Right.
As a culture, because walking the street with friends, away from the parents, you know how we talk. We cussing up a storm.
Yeah.
Every other word coming out of our mouth was a cuss word, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when we walked by a church,
That's right.
it was enough reverence. Now, mind you, I didn't go to church. There
Mhm.
wasn't no praying.
Respect.
There wasn't no acting church. There wasn't no none of that. But the church, building of church was
a symbolic of right. There was a reverence
and
there.
it was still a
Yeah.
reverence.
Yeah.
Somebody who never even been
Yeah.
in anything like
that
the
because it was in the
Right.
culture.
I had no sense to say, "Oh no, I can't cuss if we walking by a church." Or you'll hear one of the friends say, "Hey, no, hey, watch what you say if we walking by a church."
Right.
Watch this. It went so deep that when we hanging out on Sundays and we in the streets or we in the field playing football or we at the court playing 21,
Yeah.
we
21.
Man, but you took it there.
It was we can't cuss on Sunday.
Wow.
We ain't cuss on Sunday because Sundays was the day we knew was the Lord day.
Well, y'all was better than me. I cussed on
Yeah, all the
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday,
Sunday morning,
right after I left church.
all that. we even would drive by, and if you had some loud music, you cut
turned
it
it
down.
down.
And that culturally, we to a certain sense, we respected God.
Yeah.
To a certain
And I think because of that, we have more respect for one another and more
Right.
respect for life. And
Right.
see, that's the point I was
That's
trying
right.
to make. Once that respect, because once you no longer respect God or the house of God
who are
or
you?
the man or woman of God, who would you respect?
Right.
And so we start to see this lack of respect for one another. And I think it was a shift in the culture, and it reflected in the music.
Yes.
And I think because music plays a big part,
Yes.
particularly in cultures, period.
Yes.
But particularly our culture, music plays a huge part.
See, because when we were growing up, the music was it was dance music.
Yeah.
Break dancing, and when you did get in the fight, you did it through break dancing.
You did it through break dancing. You remember that?
I was throwing hands. The culture. But
he did it through
during the
break dancing.
80s,
Yeah.
the 80s, you had your little crew. They had that little crew. And when you show up to the dance thing, y'all Beat Street, y'all, you know what I mean? Y'all popping and locking. We had cardboard all in the middle. But what I'm saying, but then when we hit 84, 85, 86, the NWA came up. It was a lot of knowledge. It was targeting. It was a switch.
Yeah, it started targeting.
It was targeting about killing one another. We never really had respect growing up, not really for the police.
Never.
Never. We didn't have respect because how we were
Never. Yeah.
But then through music, NWA really put
it
the
over the top. Put it over the top.
You know what I mean?
If you notice the music changed when you talk about the culture of black music. All of this music we hear now, from blues, jazz, rhythm and blues, pop, rock and roll,
Mhm.
soft rock, hard rock, metal, all of this stemmed out of black culture.
Sure did.
Country western,
Yep.
all of this stemmed out of black
Yep.
culture. It stemmed from what you call Negro spirituals, right?
Mhm.
Out of that, you got blues. Out of that, you got jazz.
Yep.
Out of that, you got rhythm and blues. You
Right.
got rock and roll,
Uh-huh.
Little Richard and Fats Domino,
And
and
all them guys.
all
Yeah.
of that. You got
Yeah.
all of that out of um, birth out of the black culture, starting with Negro spirituals, um, and then, like we said before, there was a shift where others got involved because now there's a lot of money. Others got involved, and there was a message that was to be conveyed.
That's right. That's
Um,
right.
and
That's right.
and in my opinion, it was actually a seed planted to destroy
That's right.
the black
I
culture and
agree.
black people. But our music is so influential in our culture that either folks stole it
Yep.
or they tried to mimic
Yep.
it. Um, Case in point, rock and roll was hijacked.
Yes.
So now when you think rock and roll, oftentimes you don't even think of black culture.
Right.
But rock and roll came out of black culture.
Sure did.
Black started our culture. Black started that. Um, so a lot of it was hijacked. I mean, even with Elvis Presley, who stole a lot from our culture.
Yep.
Um, but then as the music progressed, we got into hip hop, and I was a hip hop head, and I know you was a
Right.
hip hop
Right.
head. So
Right.
I thought I was a dope MC back in the day, tried to be like Eric B. and Rakim.
There being right
But
here.
but you saw this shift where you once was wanted to make the crowd move the crowd through MCing and through the music.
Mhm.
Uh, then it went from focusing on who had the best lyrics, so you're battling. Then there was a shift, and I think this is during the crack epidemic. You really start to see that
This shift.
shift,
That's right.
and
That's right.
now it's about everything is violence now.
Yeah.
When hip hop used to be either educational, you
Yep.
had people like African Bambaataa, you
Carry
have
one.
yeah
KRS-One.
KRS-One.
Yeah.
Either
Public Enemy.
it was educational, or it was to move the crowd, or it was to show who was the dopest MC to who was the best killer. So now you're rapping about killing folks. So we
And the
start
ones you
shifting the
kill.
culture, and the ones you
These
kill.
young people, they rap about the ones who, I mean, and then you look at any other, I'm sure how the enemy has really infiltrated. You look at any other culture, all right, the other cultures. I believe there's more killing even in the rap culture because of the messaging. You know what I mean? I look at, you don't see a lot of that, even though it came out, but most of the country, you don't see them shooting up each other houses and all that stuff. I'm just showing you the shift of it. There was a seed planted. You're right,
Mhm.
to destroy. So these young people now is just different. I
Yeah.
it is so different where a lot of even in the rap music, I mean, they did some cussing up, but not like it is now.
I don't know, Al. I don't know about the cousin part.
I'm talking about when it first came
Yeah,
out.
whoa, stop. Wait a
Now,
minute, wait a minute. We from Florida. We from the bottom.
mhm.
There was a group
Oh yeah,
you and I love.
yeah, Two Live Crew.
Two
They did more.
live
They right, you right. They
crew.
did more than just cuss.
And so we
Yeah, you right. I take that
what?
back.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought I forgot.
withdraw that statement.
I withdraw that statement because Two Live Crew,
What? 69
69,
boy.
oh, I can't think of his name. He came out of that JT Money.
What? Poison
And
Clan?
look, and then you're right, because
Trick?
when I hit middle school, I started listening to the Fifth Ward Boys and Scarface.
And the music
It
changed.
did switch,
And I think that helped change the culture as well. Well, all of these things I think played a part in changing the culture. But with that being said, well, even with the issues that we have within our culture, um, I got to prove that I'm tougher than you.
Yeah.
I'm badder than you. You can't look at me a certain way, or I take it as a challenge. Even with those things now in our culture, I still love
Yes.
the black culture.
Let me tell you something.
Everything that
Even
comes,
our fashion,
man,
even our fashion, even back in the day we were growing up, the bell bottoms, the big collars they would wear,
the butterfly
the
collar,
butterfly collar, and that even came back out. Even in the 90s, polka dots. I mean, that was big. The high top
the
jeans,
hammer pants,
the hammer pants. That culture. I was looking at a picture of this. And said, man, we were just kind of wild.
the shell toe
Yes,
Adidas,
sir.
the fat shoestrings,
But you know,
the gummy pants.
that's right, the gun bait. But our culture, yes, sir. Yeah,
with the dot right there.
I don't remember the duck.
The duck
the
tail.
ducktail, the high right, low left. But the culture was so fascinating. Even our fashion transitioned to other cultures.
Yeah.
It's just something about the swag.
Yeah.
Watch this. Even our slang words. I was at work the other day, and two guys was like, "Yeah, that's cap." And the postmaster was like,
Yeah.
"What's that?" And where did you get that from? I said, well, it come from the black culture, so she didn't understand because even our language transition, you know what I mean, it's transformed.
Man,
It, it,
it's nothing like
it ain't
it's
nothing like
nothing
it.
like
Nothing
black
like it.
culture.
Nothing like it.
You think about our clothes, our language, our vernacular, our food.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
soul food. It'll kill you. But but I'm talking
But
about,
now
man,
it's a delicacy.
the best the
Yeah.
best eating you'll ever have. And you see the world gravitate to soul food, to the music, to the fashion, to even the way we walk.
It influenced the Super Bowl.
Man.
Now listen. All our lives growing up, the music influence when you see the whole Super Bowl, West Coast, East Coast. I mean, rappers. I mean, our dancers. Even when they go on break, they playing black culture music. You seeing it, the influences even in the commercials. You hear a lot of the black culture music even in all of the commercials now.
Question though.
And yeah, right.
Question. Do you believe that our culture is being hijacked?
Somewhat, yes.
Culture vulture?
Somewhat.
Somewhat?
I
Explain it somewhat.
I think you can't really lose the identity of where it came from.
You can't?
I mean, you know what I mean?
It can't be stolen?
No, when I say identity, you know where it came from when you hear the music.
Your generation, but what about 2 generations after yours?
But I think there's still a rhythm and blues there where this generation, I'm thinking now.
Well, let's look at rock and roll. If you ask the average 25-year-old or 30-year-old,
I see where you're going.
where did rock and roll come from? They wouldn't know.
You're right.
They wouldn't know that stemmed out of from the black culture. They wouldn't know that.
That's true.
If you look at Asia now, there's I forget the name of what was it called? K-pop. Okay, K-pop, hip hop that they adopted there.
I've heard them.
So that there's a generation now that they invented.
Right. Wow. Yeah. It's been hijacked.
So
it's been hijacked. Yeah, it's been hijacked. Yeah, it's been hijacked.
It's so easy to take something from somebody that don't know that they got it. If you don't know you got it, if you don't know it belongs to you, it's easy to just, hey, let me go ahead and get this up because you don't even know your value.
You're right, because even
And
a
then
lot
they
of
make billions off of what you was making a few hundred thousand.
even a lot of in the black culture, inventions were hijacked. It was a hijack. And you were just hijack and take over. You're right.
We've been programmed to think that even in terms of invention, if we bring something of value to the table, we've been programmed to think that just us inventing it is good enough.
Right.
Not looking
I
at the
agree.
business end.
Right.
Get to the table and give a $1 billion product away for just $1,000, we see it as a win.
Right.
That's hijack.
That is hijack. Because you didn't understand the value of it. That's right. That's right. That's right.
And
That's right.
and culturally, through integration to some degree, we've lost that. We've lost our value of understanding what we actually bring
to the table.
So we lost a sense of ownership.
Right. Right.
And I
of ourselves.
Yeah. Right.
Ownership of ourselves. We lost who we're losing
Okay.
and lost who we are. And we're losing
The value of who we are.
Right.
And we're losing it by being at war with one another.
And
with one another more than anything else.
And other people see our value, but
They
we
know
don't.
about it.
That's right, but we don't see it. That's right. That's
They
right.
see ching ching.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's right. So even the music been hijacked because there's a narrative being pushed, and we gonna make bukus of money off. We'll pay you a little money and give you a little $1 million here and there. But the record companies, you know what I mean? Because we want that narrative pushed. You know.
And I ain't trying to start that, but
Yeah.
think about this though. Let's be real. NFL, right? And we love it. Lord knows we love us some football.
Yeah.
You don't think they have paid enough of us to be able to come together to start our own league, where we are the more predominantly owned franchises, where we have owners that are of our we can't start our own NBA. We can't start our own NFL if we would just come together.
It's enough money to be made.
Or NBA.
Yeah.
I think Cube was trying to go that
Right.
with the big three. Yeah.
See, he was fought against too a lot.
Yeah,
it's fought
some backlash on
Yeah.
it. And to the point that obviously he would have to go in and get some retired players that no longer obligated to an NBA contract,
Right.
et cetera, et cetera. But you mean to tell me in 2026, coming out of 2025, we can't put our minds, and I mean as a culture, we can't come together and build our own?
Do you think it's an instance
But the
where?
league is predominantly our color.
But do you think it's an instance where we don't trust one another?
Of course.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Why?
That's part, to me, that is part of what was integrated into us.
It was
that separation.
Yeah.
You put us against. That's how you destroy us.
That's right.
But it's been like that since slavery. It was the house and the
The house Negro. Yeah.
Methods on how it's been integrated into us is different. But it's been that same.
Your playbook is still the same. Yeah. Right.
I remember I was working a job. They gave me they wanted to give me just a real good position. I knew the job real good. Very good a corporation, very good company, make buku money. And I knew the job real good. And they wanted to give me a high position. But on their job, during a lunch break, I had a crew of about eight black dudes. All of us went to lunch at the same time.
Yeah.
You know how that is. 8 black dudes get together. We talk each other. We loud.
Yeah,
You
right.
know what I'm saying? You know how.
But loud for no reason.
Loud. We laugh loud. And
Right.
we talk with passion.
Uh-huh.
And we don't even be arguing, but
Sound like a fight down the
it
street.
sound like a fight down the street, right? But they called me in. I'll never forget. They called me in the office, and I made just some upper ups that were not necessarily my color. They called me in and they said, "We have this position available for you, but you can no longer be around your friend. You can't be seen doing or being around us no more because of this position we want to give you. In other words, you can't look like what's underneath you, so to
Wow.
speak.
Wow.
Right? That was the offer to me. I didn't want it. I asked about the money so much because that's what made me not. The money wasn't good enough for me to say, okay, whatever. However, the offer was still there.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And a lot of why we are at each other is because that offer came.
Right.
That offer of, hey, listen, we want your value. We don't want you to give your value to your own. Give it to us and let us market you. Get away from your own. We just kind of separated from each other.
Could it been an instance where they're saying where we see you, where we see you could be,
Mhm.
you got to get away from where you are in order to grow the world? Could it be that?
What was stopping me from getting there with all I do is just go to lunch? How couldn't I get there without that?
Because he said,
You,
we don't want you to be seen.
you don't want to be seen with
I
them.
down.
I
So in other
wasn't
words,
influenced negatively by being with
right?
them. They just said
They saw a
we
game.
want to separate y'all and make you look higher
Yeah.
than you know what I
That's all game.
like my
Yeah.
boy on
Right. Right.
one of my favorite movies, Django.
Yeah.
When he rode up on that horse
Yeah.
and son Young say his name.
Right. Right. He supposed to be walking like the rest of them.
Exactly.
Right. 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 Right.
They want to try to put you somewhere to make others offended and make you look down. But I don't want to look down.
That will cause that will cause conflict between your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. But wow, that's something else.
Gotcha.
But this is the world that we live in. And so I think our even 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 in business,
Mhm.
you will find that, especially, if you got people that are in business. Like, for instance, when I was in real estate, it's funny because all of us, a lot of the guys are like, we would kind of hang together. We go out there, we kind of hang together because we're gonna be talking
Mhm.
culturally stuff that other cultures wouldn't even understand. We got to break that up. You know what I mean? Even in school,
Yep.
Chris, when we grew up in school, when we hung together, all of us hung together. They got to break that up.
Right.
Even out of school, we got to break that up. Let me tell you something. If our culture come together as one, listen, man, listen,
Yeah.
great. I mean, because listen, there are a lot of guys who carry great giftings. Now we don't. Now there are other cultures that have great giftings. We understand that, but we're talking about black culture. Great giftings. I go to the prisons and teach.
Yeah.
Talent, man. I mean, talent among, because I speak with a lot of black men. I mean, talented men, talented in writing, talented. A lot of them have great business ideas. A lot of them invent things in prison. You like, man, you made that in prison.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But because of narratives that've been pushed, causing influence sometimes, and it's just to stop the influence of our culture.
Well, I believe there are a lot of people who love our culture,
I believe
who
that.
want to mimic our culture, but don't want us.
Right.
No.
I don't necessarily think it's to stop our culture. Uh,
That's what
I think it's
I think I worded wrong, but
I think it's to hijack our culture because there's a
right,
lot of people that love our. I mean, but just don't love you.
right,
I want your culture. I want all those giftings. I want all that. I just don't want you.
right.
And then I'll change it and make it mine. Even when you look at church and how for years in our culture how we've done church, how we sing, how we worship in church,
Yeah,
our style of preaching in church.
yeah,
And then you look at other cultures who
You see that.
now trying to preach like us, trying to worship like us,
They got the
trying
organ
to
in the back.
shout and dance. Yeah, they got the Hammond behind like us, and I guess you can be flattered
Yeah.
by it, but my question is, at the end of the day, what's the agenda? Is it to steal our culture to the point where because we've lost so much that's been stolen
We
out
can't
of our culture?
we can't let this new generation forget.
We can't.
And we can't let, and now our culture is starting to try to be erased out of history.
Right.
So we can't, and I think it's upon us to teach our children and to instill within our grandchildren, these
Teach our
cultures,
history.
teach our history and foundational things. When I was a correction officer, I would talk to our young men. They don't care nothing about no history.
Right.
But you need to know where you come from.
Right.
You need to know the struggle.
Right.
And you need to know, I don't need to vote. I don't need that. You need to know the struggle of why a lot of our people were killed because of that.
I think that's what made our we're passionate people.
Right.
Not all a lot of cultures that are real passionate, but
Passionate.
we're passionate
Right.
people. And I think partly so because of the struggle, because we had to scratch and fight
Man, yeah.
and fight for every drop, right?
Yeah.
And so that's where the whole pride came in, and I don't mean pride in a negative way, but that's where the whole thing of self pride and pride for your culture and for where you come from, and honoring those ancestors that died, so that you can be where you're standing upon the shoulders of these great men and women. And so I think it has to be taught. You need to know where you come from and how we got here. The struggle, you can't forget the struggle. And I hear a lot of people say you're always bringing up the past. You're always bringing up slavery. You're always bringing up what happened in Jim Crow or in the 60s. Well, we have to, because you can't forget the struggle.
Why do we?
You better remember the struggle. At least you go back.
That's why we have museums. That's
The
why
history books.
history to show. That's why even the Holocaust, they have a Holocaust. Least we forget.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Least we forget.
But there's a sense of
Right.
pride. Now it's not being upset with anyone else.
Right.
It's a sense of pride of look at
So
where
we
our
can't.
ancestors
That's right.
came from.
That's right.
Look at the struggle.
That's right.
Look at how they overcame.
But the residue of it is still vibrant.
Right.
Right.
The residue of it is still alive right now.
Right.
Yeah.
We're still affected.
Even in legislation,
Right.
haven't you?
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
definitely in legislation.
Yeah.
Still affected
You affect.
by what happened.
Yeah.
We might have been free from it for however many years it's been now, but we're still experiencing the residue of it some generations later.
The last bill that was passed was the Fair Housing Act. Get this, the Fair Housing Act.
Mhm.
This is 1968.
Come on.
This isn't in 1925. This isn't in 1862. This is in 1968. 7 years before I was born.
Right. Right.
You understand? The red line.
With bank.
All of this is real.
You remember when the old boy told him his age?
Man. Millions didn't make it, but I was one of the ones who did.
You're right. A lot of laws, because I think a lot of laws were like red lines to stop the advancement of a lot of things. And
colored people.
That's right. And to stop the advancement. So we're gonna separate now, and what we're gonna do is you stay over here. And then we're such an overcoming people, even when drugs was pumped in our community by the government.
Yeah.
We still, even when they made laws where in order for you to get welfare, the husband couldn't be in the house.
Right.
We still thrive. I'm
Yeah,
trying to tell you,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah.
I
We've overcome and
we overcome
continue
a
to
lot.
overcome.
Right, right.
the scripture actually said, lest they grow stronger, lest they grow
Yeah.
Mhm.
bigger than us,
Hmm.
right?
And
We were talking about
overtake us.
they overtake us.
Uh,
We fall right in that line. I'm telling you, we
yeah,
fall right in there. In struggle, slavery, whatever we want to call it, did us a favor in the sense of how it united us,
yeah,
how it kept us
yeah,
to be able to even build the culture that we're talking about right now.
yeah,
I would say this. I wouldn't say slavery did. I would say segregation did because we was forced to live amongst each other and
right, right,
depend on one another.
right.
I don't see nothing good coming out of slavery.
Yeah,
No,
I don't see
yeah.
it.
But I know where your heart was when you said it.
And you would
Yeah.
say, but preacher, I see your heart.
But you're right.
But yes,
Right, because segregation
you,
caused us to really knit together
you had
to link because the laws wasn't leaning in your favor,
right.
and so you had to come together and what you need.
And
You know,
integration, I think, watered down. And in a lot of instances, like I said before, the talent left the community. Think about this. Think about all of the talent that was in HBCUs
Mm.
before integration. Think about it. North Carolina Central University. They plug Eagle Pride. Think about all of the talent that was in those HBCUs because it was illegal to integrate.
right,
Then I mean powerhouse. And then once integration, uh, because he's segregated, but once integration uh, came about, you see the diminish of the athletes at the HBCUs because everybody want to go D1. Everybody want to go to these big schools. I was talking to a gentleman in the gym a couple weeks ago. Uh, Elderly man. He went to New Smyrna High School, and he was talking about in the '60s when it was segregated here, how Chisholm High, how the athletes there were so awesome,
Mm.
and they were afraid to play Chisholm High
yeah,
because
yeah. I heard
these
that
boys
before.
was just so dominant. And then as integration came, we left our communities and we ventured to other, which is a good thing.
Right. So you're
Don't
not saying
misunderstand
so
what
to
I'm
make it
saying.
clear, it's not you're not saying that
It,
integration was just bad.
no, I'm just saying
You're
there
saying
were
what
some
it done.
things. There were some
That's
things that
right.
happened
What
that
it,
wasn't favorable.
right wasn't right.
Yeah,
Right.
that wasn't favorable.
Right.
And I think that we adopted. Yeah, I think we're adopting a lot of other cultures, and you start to see a pivot in our culture. Things that we would have never done and we would have never said, we would never allow. We start to allow in our culture
Yeah.
because being exposed. I think that's one reason why. Anyway, being exposed but I don't want it to seem like I'm against it because I'm not. I'm all for it. I think we should have never been
Right.
segregated.
Right.
We should have never been.
That wasn't God.
Yeah, we should have
From the
never
jump.
been.
That wasn't
But I'm
God.
saying because of integration, we lost a lot of our, if I can use the word, cohesiveness.
Yes. Togetherness.
Within the black
Yeah,
culture.
yeah, we see things. It was so uncommon to see mass. It was so uncommon to see a black boy, teen, whatever, shoot up his family. You know, things of
Right.
that nature. Right?
Yeah, it was uncommon.
We weren't doing
That was an anomaly.
stuff like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, we
Yeah.
wasn't thinking about taking
No.
no gun and shooting. Man, the one it was I think it was last year, the year before last, but the boy killed his grandfather. I shot him and then pushed him off the second floor
Yeah. Okay.
over the grandfather. Didn't want him smoking weed in the house. You know,
Shit.
things of that nature. And it's these are things that wasn't part of us. So I definitely agree with what you're saying. We not lost though. You know, we not lost. We losing ourselves, you know, even with my class growing up, it's a lot of people I could talk to from the same exact era as me, the same age as me, came up in the same class, graduated the same year, and their mindset is, I didn't like the way I grew up. It was too
Mm,
strict.
mm,
It was too stern.
Right.
mm.
It was too, we had, so they see the growing up era as a negative more than anything, to the point that now for their
Completely
kids
opposite.
ain't got to say no yes, ma'am, yes, sir.
Right.
Right.
Kids can
Right.
call them a lie all they want.
Right.
Yeah.
Kids can just pretty much do whatever they want to. You know what I'm saying? Kids can go, you can be in aisle 7 while your kids is in aisle 2.
Well, you never
Cutting it up.
Huh?
man, we would never.
Your
That's
kids,
right.
you get called to the school, you go up there with the mindset to tell off the school. You
Right.
ain't even think
Instead of
about your
checking.
kids.
Man,
Right.
let me tell you
Oh,
something.
Yeah.
We was afraid when my daddy showed up. We
so
ain't
it
make
ain't,
a
it ain't, to me, it ain't,
man.
it's not all based off generation. It's some of this stuff is just based on us who have grown up that wanted to get rid of and negate
And that's a
the
dangerous
culture.
thing.
And that's
That's
what
a
we
dang.
got
Didn't
That's a
to
dangerous
appreciate.
thing.
implement.
Didn't
We
appreciate.
didn't.
What
Right.
we,
Right.
so the question is then, what do we do to strengthen our culture? What do we do to strengthen it? What's the plan to strengthen our culture?
You want to start that?
Go ahead. I'm by you.
Right back to the foundation,
Yeah.
Which is
which is Jesus Christ himself.
Yeah.
Because
You have to.
when Jesus was the foundation, you see how y'all say what y'all like to listen to, all the rap and stuff? We could listen to all of that.
We'll go right
We
back.
still
But
had a
we are the, yeah, that's right.
when there's a backbone there,
right.
when there's a source of strength, when there's a sense of morality in the back of our mind that says, look, at the end of the day,
God.
God.
Right.
All right. When it's all said and done, God. That's right. God.
When there is no, at the end of the day, God back there,
Right.
that's free room.
Subject to
Right.
do anything.
You subject to do absolutely anything. So when Christ is at least the foundation,
Right.
we might get caught up in a whole lot of other stuff.
But that foundation.
But the
Still
foundation, bring them up in a way they should
So
go.
you got something you can build on.
You got something you can build.
Even the men that I talked to, I've been going to the prison since 1996. Even the men that I sent out with 101, a lot of them, even though they didn't grow up
Yeah,
in church or stuff like that, they remember God.
God.
You know, I say, hey man, if I would have just, I didn't grow up in church, but I heard my friends, their mom that went to church.
Or you
I
had a
even saw
grandma.
how they live. But I saw how they live. My house was wide open, dope and all this, but I saw something solid in that family. And a lot of them guys say, man, God, they come back, they come back to God as number one. We got to get back to foundation.
Because it will only allow you to go so far before you say, wait a minute.
Yeah, I got to reel myself back in.
Yeah.
And I think, and then in the homes, it has to start with the parents.
Yeah.
We have to really instill God in our children. You know what I mean? And the fear of God. These kids don't know reverence. We're in the generation, not just only in the black culture, but we're in the generation
In
where
the world, period.
the world period, the fear, there's no level of fear of God anymore.
You know what partly I think that is though, and this is going a little
Right.
but I partly I think it's because of the way people are preaching now. There used to be a time
Yes.
where preachers preached the fear of God.
Right.
Hell, fire and
It's
brimstone
real.
was preached. Now you got this kind of cupcake.
Yeah.
You kind of
It's
got
watered
this cupcake.
down.
Oh, he just loves it. He's accepting to everyone. He's an all-inclusive God.
Yeah.
Well, God is not inclusive.
Right.
God is exclusive.
Right.
Huh? He that
That's right.
will come.
Let them come.
So,
That's right. That's right.
So
That's
what,
right.
which means, we preaching, but
Yeah.
that,
That's
you
the
actually,
that's the
you
life
actually have to
spiritual part
line,
of
you
it.
actually have to line up.
Up to his standard.
Yeah, God
Well,
doesn't come down. Now he meets you where you are. He meets you where you his standard doesn't meet you where you are.
that's right.
You got to rise up to his standard. So, and in order to do that, there is a surrendering.
Yeah.
And it's not a surrendering of part of you, it's a surrender of all of you.
And that fear is I respect them.
Correct.
You know what I mean? I reverence who he is. Even when we were growing up, Chris, before I went to the club, Watch this. The guys I was going to the club with, I
pray before
I'm
you-
anointing. Listen, I'm anointing them with oil.
Yeah.
We get ready to go do. We about to go do some damage. But let me anoint y'all first, cause we need to be covered. We going to do church. We got dope in the car. We got weed in the car. We got guns in the car. But let me anoint y'all, because I understood. I thank God.
look out for fools.
Right. I thank God for that foundation,
we did the same thing.
because it limit, even when we was getting ready
It
to
limit
rob,
how much you was gonna do.
that it pulled me back.
It was a, yeah,
Right.
it had a pull, but it had a line.
Right.
Now I don't think there's a line. Anything goes now.
We was getting ready to rob somebody one day. I never grew up doing no stuff like that.
You know better.
I know better than that. And right before I was with a guy, and he had the gun on, I said, "Now this is how we gonna do it." And the guy was coming. We was on University of South Florida campus. We on college campus. And I can, in my spirit, I have not now tapped on the Holy Ghost, but in my spirit, no. See that line, you about to cross the line, because he could have been killed, and here you is, now you got life, but I got purpose for you to go into the prison. But because of foundation, you right, Chris, that line, I just couldn't cross it. I was there, but the fear of some in me was saying no.
Man, I remember.
Don't you know what I mean?
I remember. I think it was my senior year in high school. Algie had went off to college, and then something happened. He ended up coming back home.
Chase got pregnant.
That was a line. That was a line he crossed. Hey, that was a line that that foundation.
Yeah,
had to come on back. Hey, so peep game. I come in the house, and on the end table, full of weed. I'm bagging it up, and my parents are gone somewhere. It must have been at some church convention or something.
Yeah.
But I walk into the house, and I see this weed on the table. I don't know if you was by yourself or with somebody else.
I was.
Don't say the name.
I ain't gonna say the name.
And then I walk in. I say, "What are you doing?" What were you talking about? I said, "Man, we wasn't raised like this.
I remember you said that to me.
We wasn't raised. We don't do this. This is not how we was brought up. Now we grew up in the project. Yeah. Most of the people around us sold dope, sold weed. They did what they did, right? But we wasn't raised
right.
So man, what you doing? I'm looking at him like, and I'm thinking to myself, you big dummy.
That's how the devil had you look. That's how the devil had.
There you go. But it comes from the earth.
You see how it made it up? It's earth.
It's coming from
God, man. I remember saying that. Ain't nobody had it automatically grew. It heard.
If God want us to have this.
I'm sounding like Smokey. God made this up. But you see the foundation.
Oh, God.
I knew it was wrong. I knew it was wrong. But there was a certain line when I see my other friends, because of the foundation, they was going all out. But there was a certain line I said, I can't cross that line.
Another thing too, though, man. A lot of our guys that we ran with, a lot of our friends didn't have a father in the home.
Right.
Some did, but a lot didn't. And we did. And not only did we have a father, we had an active father. We had a strong father.
Yeah.
That demonstrated what a husband looked like.
Right.
What a lover of his children, his family looked like. What a caregiver looked like. What a worshiper looked like. Even with all the faults that he had.
Yeah.
He modeled that.
Right.
So when I saw that, I'm looking at Al like, you didn't see this. You know what I mean? We saw it around our friends. You know, we're at their house and they bagging up the snow. We see that, but we didn't experience this in our house. What are you doing? And not only was there a foundation of God, though, but there was a fear of me. I got to deal with my daddy.
Right. Yeah.
This is the importance of having a father in the home.
Yeah.
I got to deal with my daddy. I remember me and a friend of mine found a bag of crack. Right. on the side of the apartment. And I had an idea of who it belonged to because of who stayed
Right.
in the area, right?
Yeah.
So we find this bag of crack, and I'm like, yo, this is a bag of rocks, right? So I'm like, oh, this must be so and so because they was parked on the side over here last
That's what
night.
they right,
So
right.
so they dropped it. Me, I'm gonna give it to him and say, hey man, I'm in sixth grade. Hey, so and so, man, you dropped. I know it's yours. You dropped the bag, and I'm gonna give it back to him. Drugs are so common in our, and you know this in the community that it was, oh my God, it was drugs. It was the everyday thing. I ain't doing it, but I know it's yours. Get your hustle on, you drop the crack, right? He said, nah. I tell you what we can, now I got a father. He don't.
Right.
I tell you what we can do.
Sell
Yeah,
it.
man, let's sell this, right? We can sell this, flip this, and I know we can get some more from, and man, we can start our own little enterprise. I said, you must not know
Who my daddy is.
James Hill. I said, man, I ain't met my daddy killed. I ain't even think about the police.
My
I
daddy
ain't
gonna
thinking about
kill
getting locked
yeah,
up.
my daddy gonna
I said, man, my daddy killed me. You ain't got one of them. I got one of them. You know him. Nah, man, I'm not doing
and
that.
that's that right, right.
What happened was he ended up doing it with a family member of mine. They both end up hooked years later on the product that they
Yeah.
started pushing. They both was in and out of prison. One of them was murdered. Now, that could have easily have been me,
Yeah.
but I had a black daddy who was,
Strong black daddy.
yes,
Yeah.
who was, I mean, I had a James Evans on Good Times in the house. I had an Uncle Phil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so,
That
no, man,
foundation,
yeah,
right?
no,
Even when
man.
I was out there, even though I was out there,
This dummy here, boy.
I was not there long though. I was not there long.
Yeah.
I was not there long,
Yeah.
but I was out there long enough. And I think, see, I used to go to church. I used to go to school with book bag. I mean, with satchels and all that. But when I got a little gangster when I hit like 10th grade, 11th grade. But I was not there long.
White.
Even after high school, I wasn't out there long. But because of foundation,
You
the
can only go
foundation,
so far
I could
before
go, and the guys like, come on. I remember I was with a certain individual. We was in the house. It was so much dope in the house. I'm scared. I ain't never seen that much dope in the. I'm like, oh Lord, they gonna run up in here. My daddy gonna kill me. You know what I mean? But the Lord, because of the foundation was in me, I knew, number one, I knew better. But God only allowed me, I believe, because of them guys won't think about no God.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I only could go so far because when me and Chris was young, my grandmother would tell us, say, you know what? Y'all get on the altar and call Jesus.
Yeah. You
That
talking
foundation,
about 5,
yeah,
6 years old.
until we called Jesus, until tears begin. I mean,
Yeah.
a real cry.
Yeah.
Not just I'm crying because they told us to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, a genuine from the heart crying out to God from a child.
Yeah.
The enemy knew it.
I
So
thank God for a big mama. That's why I love
yes,
our culture.
yes, our culture
She put something
in
in
us.
us
Mm-hmm.
at that young age, man, that even though we went away and did our own thing,
You're gonna come back.
you had to come back.
There's a
Lord, if
hook
you
in you.
allow me to live longer.
There was a hook in you.
Yeah, you had to come back.
There was a hook in you. It was always drawing you, but when the timing was right, it pulled you.
I'm gonna tell you what she did. Phenomenal woman. I'm gonna tell you what she did. We had to have been about, I was probably about 6, Algie was 7. She came to us, she said, I need to talk to y'all.
Yes.
Serious. She had this serious look on her face. Thank God for Big Mama.
Yeah.
She had a serious look on her face. She said, y'all young fella, y'all little fellas, sit down. I gotta talk to y'all. We sat down. Hey, Nanny, what's wrong? I'm about 6, about 7.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
said, you all are born men. You know what that means?
Work.
No, she said, you're born a man. That means work.
Right. That's what I said.
This
work.
is what a man does. She said, you see how your father take care of your mother?
Yeah.
That's how a man take care of his wife.
Sure did.
You see how your father take care of y'all? That's how a man take care of
She
his
sure
family,
did.
his children. You were born men.
Say work.
Men work. and men take care of their
The
family.
family sure did.
She said the way you see your daddy taking care of your mama and you all is how you all take care of your
She
family.
sure did.
Now, 6 years old, I never forgot that.
Yep. Yep.
I never forgot
Yep.
that. So there was always a level of pride in me to take care of my wife. There was
Family
always
was
a
in you.
level of pride in me to
Right.
take care of my
Right.
children
Right.
because I had a big mama. Even though I had a father that modeled it, my dad never really sat me down and said, "Listen, son, you take." Now we had father-son talks, but at 6 years old, for her to sit us down, it's
And
on her heart to tell us
that's right.
this is what a man does. And then on top of that, you have a model. Look at your daddy.
Right.
That's a man.
She could point to the evidence.
That's a
Yeah.
man
The interesting part was
in the projects.
Right.
you all's father was a man of God,
Mm-hmm.
right? He was a man of God, which made it even better.
It
My
did.
father,
Because we never heard our father cuss,
right?
fussing at our mother,
Never.
calling her
Beating,
name,
none of that.
putting his hands on
But
her.
the standard of men at a time in
Right.
general,
Right.
whether they were men of God or not.
Right.
My father was that same way. I
Took
never
care of
my father do nothing to my mama.
Right.
Granted, it was a separation up in there when I was maybe 6 or 7, somewhere up in there when my mom and daddy separated. Still, by time I was 6 or 7, my father had already raised me and my brother.
Well,
We were already
he already put it in
that's
you.
how much a stand-up disciplinarian
Right.
he was. And when I say disciplinarian, I don't mean mean.
Right.
He just made
He put
sure
structure in you.
there was structure.
Yeah, he put structure in you.
So he wasn't even no man of God. I told you I didn't go to church with my father, but the standard of how a man was.
Men were men.
Were men.
Right.
Right, and that alone set the foundation.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it gave you an example of, because when you finally do meet Christ in your older age, you got to understand what it is to have some sense of discipline.
Yeah.
I believe this. You know what happened was you all saw a man.
Mhm.
And I believe to be a man, to be a strong man, you got to see
Gotta
one.
see it for
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
And he instilled it so amazingly in us that it's like over in, I think it's Ecclesiastes. Let's say children obey their parents.
Right.
Yeah.
It say that, right?
Yeah. In the Lord. That's right. That's what it
In the
says.
Lord. It's a scripture for kids, but it ain't talking to kids. It's really
Yeah.
talking to parents.
And they let them know it'll save your life. That's right.
Children obey their parents.
That's
but
right.
This is right.
Parents don't give children something to obey
Yeah.
in the Lord.
Yeah.
What can they obey? And we came up in a time where there was nothing to obey. Remember, I said most of the people I could talk to from my generation felt growing up was too stern, too strict. And they found God, and it's a two-part of this. A lot of people found God to be inconvenient.
Right.
They found him to be inconvenient because they were being drugged to church, and they was never able to distinguish the difference between church
Right.
and God.
It was
Right.
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 Right. Right. My kids. Right. Right.
What a lot of us we fail to realize is God don't just save us from sin; He saves us from us.
Right.
He saved us from
Destruction.
exactly. He saved us from the stuff, and I mean that as a culture. The second we took him off of the foundation, I know for a lot of kids it was the inconvenience to be drugged up in church and have to go to church. Even when mama and them wasn't going to church, you still had to go to church. Them same kids said, when I grow up
I ain't doing
and I get my own kids,
it. Mm-hmm.
I ain't gonna make them go to church like mama them. But little did you know they were saving your life.
Right. And what
They
you're
were
putting
saving
in
you.
you.
And building
That's
structure.
right.
And that's right. They're putting it in you.
Absolutely.
So a
You're
lot
right.
of the ones that we done brought up now and that are being brought up, they don't know what that is to be
Right.
in a church home
Right.
like that.
And you look at the ones that's saying that, and you look at their life, and you see how well they're doing, and you say, "Wait a minute, now, it worked for you.
Mhm.
It worked for you. It put something in you that won't allow you to go." But so there was a level of standard
Right.
in you. There was a level of moral.
You just wasn't wide open like that,
That
so
was-
to speak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
was open,
you
but-
may have did your thing
Yeah.
at Freaknik, but you was only gonna go.
It's on tape.
Hey,
Hey,
that's our time.
yeah.
We got to. Y'all, yeah, y'all gonna take it
Look,
somewhere else, and we ain't.
you ain't
It
trying
ain't
to do
that
it.
kind of podcast.
Yeah.
But you know what? The thing is this: life.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, truth be told,
Yeah.
life is spiritual.
Always.
There's a spiritual aspect to everything
Always.
in life,
Yeah.
and I think if you recognize the spiritual part of life, it helps you to cope with the physical part of life.
Yeah.
Understanding that life is spiritual. Uh, your God is spiritual. He's a spirit.
Yeah.
You
Spirit.
are a spirit.
Yeah.
And what happens in the natural first happened
In the
in
supernatural.
the realm of the
That's right.
spirit. So life is spiritual, and we have to look at it that way. And I think it helps us better to deal with the physical part of life if we can understand the spiritual part of life. That's our time. We're out. Peace.